Hey guys, welcome back to Game Master Tips, episode 4, which is how to improve your improv. I'm going to give you 4 steps and more of 4 options to kind of help you improve your ability to improvise. Step number 1 is going to be designing a little bit less, in all honesty, keeping things more open. When you're designing a session, it can be hard not to want to stay really rigid and keep things very particular on what you want to happen. Unfortunately, that keeps you from letting your creative juices flow during session as much. From my experience, making a session so on the nose can cause you to kind of get flustered when things don't go exactly how you planned, and keep you from letting out that improvisation, letting you create these characters or encounters that just need to be done on the fly. That doesn't mean you shouldn't push for something to happen in a session that you want to happen, because if that's the case, nothing gets done, you know? So keeping things a little bit more open, a little bit more fluid for your players to do their own improv on their characters and then let you kind of bounce off it and go back and forth can be quite helpful, to be honest, in my experience anyway. But I'll go directly from that into step 2, which is a bit more fun for you, which is building random encounters. Just take an entire day, or a few hours, if anything, and come up with a couple random dungeons. Maybe like Lich's Forgotten Lair, an abandoned dragon's cave, even just an orc village. Something like that can give you the opportunity to, during travel, throw it in spontaneously. Maybe decide to add in a random quest during a session that the players have been kind of itching for after a long couple sessions of role play. It can give you a little bit of time to kind of sit back and just roll dice, but at the same time, you can add a little bit more flavor to it without feeling like you're constrained to the main story. You can add goofy things like an orc war chief who, once the party comes in to fight him, realizes, ooh, this is not what I wanted or was expecting to have happen. So I'm just going to book it and have him try to run and flee, possibly causing the party to get a little bit more aggressive or worried that they might have done something wrong. Doing stuff like that can give you so much practice, in all honesty, on improvising on stuff that isn't important. So once you get to that important stuff and they're asking weird questions, you can kind of just jump into it. Now, that's going to lead me directly into step 3, which is giving your NPCs and random monsters character and flaws. And honestly, sometimes a little bit of random information. Doing this can be super helpful if you already have it prepped up and ready to go. Let's say what happened to me, actually, in my previous session was I made a magic shop that happened to be in the high end of the city. Fine magics and weird crystals, and just possibly a little bit of illicit substances that I did not expect my players to use against me at all. But it gave me a chance to improvise on how the shopkeep himself would handle being exploited and extorted to the point of now he kicked them out, took the drugs, the stuff away. Gonna watch for YouTube censors. But take those things away from them and kick them out and tell them to never return, which then pushed them to go to my guard captain and rat the guy out, which also I didn't expect, and had to kind of jump onto that bandwagon and let the guard captain actually think about it and go with it, causing that shop to now be closed down for who knows how many more sessions. And I feel that gave my players a lot more agency, and I get to improvise and show off a little bit and kind of have a little bit more fun with it. Because improvising, once you get used to it, is extremely fun when you get to do it. But you don't want it to all be improvised, or you're just going to be sitting there in a story that's not moving, other than, oh, they leveled, or ooh, they got this new item. But that's going to lead me into step 4, and the final step in this video, which is learning and listening from your players. All they do, all session, is improvise. And being able to listen and bounce off them is extremely important. Figuring out what times to bounce off them, what times to interject into player-to-player role play is really important, and you can learn more about that in a previous video on your players and you. But in all, watching your players, learning what they're looking for, can give you a chance to improvise. Maybe the fighter wants to go to a local boxing match and jump in. You can throw one of those together really easy and maybe add some information that the other players can learn and listen to while he's brawling out in the ring. Or maybe the druid wants to go out into the local forest and they kind of ignored a little plot hook you had originally that would have dragged them into the forest anyway or out towards another section. You can throw something into the woods. Maybe they have Speak with Animal, and a squirrel just happens to run up to the druid and start squeaking at him. So he casts Speak with Animals, and boom, they learn that there's a lich that's slowly corrupting the forest from a nearby cave that just happens to be an ancient tomb of someone or something. But it gives you a chance to kind of let the players take their agency and give yourself an easier time by noticing, all right, that's what they want to do. How can I take what I've already designed and kind of bring it back into the center while having a little bit more fun with it and just kind of coming up with something that fits? It gives you such an easy time, and even more so, it gives you the opportunity to improvise on every occasion if you need to. And practicing these steps and doing them over and over will keep making it easier and easier to keep it going and keep it fresh. Because the last thing you want is for your campaign to feel stale and railroady, in all honesty. And between you and me, you can technically railroad people with improv. You can keep them on the right track, but it requires you to improvise and bring them back into the train car and let them keep going, but it's not going to be the same train car this time. It's going to be something you had to wing and try to get them back onto it, but in a different way. So remember, keep your designs a bit more open for sessions. Make some random dungeons. Do something that gives you some free time, take some free time and have fun with it. Give NPCs and random monsters some flaws, character, and backstory, and possibly some random information. And lastly, just remember to listen and bounce off your players. They're going to have more fun if they notice you're watching and listening to them and giving them what they want. Now, from us here at Bastions and Boats, Dungeons and Dragons, I hope you have a great next session.